Okay. Mental note, don't mute the microphone before you start talking. Professional tip 101. Yes. So, all right. Guys, welcome to the Snark Lounge. It's Sunday. That means it's time to get your snark on. Today, I've got my jumbo-sized cup of coffee. I've got the can of sardines, and we're going to go ahead and bring our guest in. Today, we're talking about untold stories from China. Do you have a story? Is it a good one? Well, hang on to it, because maybe later in the show, I might invite you into the Snark Lounge to tell your story. So let's go ahead and bring our guest on. First of all, we have the man, the myth, the legend, who should be upside down because he's in Australia, but for some reason he's not. It's StrayaGuy.
It's all good. We fixed it up. We're the right way up.
Yeah, the miracle of technology makes it right side up there.
That's exactly
amazing.
It. That's it. We
How you
have
doing,
this technology that flips us the right way up and makes our toilet go the other way.
Yes, absolutely. So I want to invite in, of course, my lovely better half, Bunny. Hi. How are we doing tonight?
After you.
So, Ken, go. We already have a comment here. Ken Ho, go on and eat those sardines, man. I don't know about that. That can of sardines is kind of getting a little aged. You know, they're still technically good, but you know,
yeah,
it is what it is. I've had those things for like probably 4 years now, and yet they don't expire until 2022.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. Yeah, go figure. So, also want to welcome the newcomer into our stream, although this is not his first rodeo. Everyone welcome in Expat Survival.
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, glad to be a part of this show. It's my first time in this show, but not my first live stream.
Yes. So it is not his first rodeo. He is old hat. Guys, today we are talking about untold stories in China. So, and of course, as all stories go, the best ones tend to be about, you know, money, break of routine, maybe adventure, and of course, girls. Those tend to be about the best story. But before we get there, I want to introduce my guest and ask him, of course, number one, what do you do? And number two, tell us a little bit about your channel. I want to start first with StrayaGuy. Oh, what
right.
I hit the wrong button. Yeah.
We hit the wrong one.
He's out of here. So StrayaGuy, tell us about what do you do?
Excellent.
Hey, tell us about your channel, man.
So, well, as the name slightly suggests, StrayaGuy, I'm from Australia. Australia is the slang for Australian. And I guess what I like to do, I'm somewhat of an enthusiast of travel and world culture and that, but I don't like to give people that vlogish type thing. Like, you know, everyone, you know, you got a dime a dozen, look at me, I'm a foreigner, I'm in a different country type stuff. I like to try and make some skits and that, try to make a bit of fun, kind of just jump in the deep end type things. And I guess just get my hands dirty where I can. So it usually ends up being a bit of fun, sometimes taking the mickey out of myself, but you know, I enjoy it. It's a lot of good fun.
There we go. Awesome. All right. Expat Survival. I want to know, tell me a little bit about yourself. What do you do? And tell me about your channel, sir.
I'm probably the youngest guy in China here. What I mean is I've only been in China for about 2 years and some change. It all started when I met my wife in the U.S. She was actually an exchange student. And then we stayed in the U.S. for 5 years after my contract. And then we both mutually decided, hey, why not? Let's give it a go. We'll go to China and see how things go over there. So then after my contract ended, we both moved to Guangzhou, China, and I've been living here happily for 2 years. I have a channel called Expat Survival, and I'll tell you guys, the first 2-3 months here was really rough. Like, especially as a foreigner, I didn't know anything. I knew zero Chinese, zero, nada. So getting around, I felt like a toddler that I needed like either a translator or my wife to go with me all the time to do things like order food, order a bank account. So my channel really focuses on getting a better lifestyle for foreigners as they come here so that they don't get a rude awakening like I did.
There we go. Awesome. All right. So how long have you guys been married now?
Ooh, on paper or like ceremonial? On paper, almost 5 years. Ceremonial, like when we had our actual wedding ceremony for 4 years.
Oh.
There we go. There we go.
Nice.
All right. And of course, my better half, she has not yet been convinced to start her up on YouTube channel. We'll get there. We'll get there. But where are you at today, Bunny?
I'm still in Hong Kong, guys. I'm the wife of Snarky. I have no channel. Sometimes I appear in Snarky's channel. So I came to Shanghai. I went to Shanghai. I was in right now is actually for jobs. So together we started a journey in Shanghai 2.5 years ago with Snarky.
And what an adventure it's been. Speaking of adventure, we'll be talking more about that. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about untold stories in China because you know what? Everyone has a good story to tell. And somehow when you move to China, funny thing happens. You get a lot of stories amassed because funky things seem to happen to you when you live over here. Or maybe not. I mean, they say life, of course, is normal wherever you are, but it may seem unusual to other people. So we're going to talk about that tonight. I want to kick this off because I absolutely can. Yesterday, as Bunny's been gone from the house now for about a month. She's been down in Hong Kong taking care of family stuff. I've been doing my best to take care of the house, keep it clean. But hey, I am a dude, so obviously, the house has not been as clean as I'd like it to be. And Bunny's been sending food, of course, delivery. And I tried to shove it all in the fridge. I tried to shove everything in the fridge. And in the process, I think I hit that little round button at the top there and I shut the fridge off for 2 days. I shut the fridge off for 2 days and I ate something. And my legs swelled up, my arms swelled up. I got really sick, and it wasn't pretty. And so I thought, and I'm gonna give you guys fair warning that are watching the show. This will seem a little bit descriptive. I ran into the bathroom, and I managed to. I had to puke. Okay, it's whatever it is. I had food poisoning, so I ran in the bathroom. And I'm not even thinking at the time. And I popped right in the sink. I shouldn't have done the toilet. I popped in the sink. And of course, at this point, what are you going to do? So I'm still feeling better. I'm trying to plunge the sink, and get it out of the sink, get the sink to go down. And I ended up slicing my thumb. Blood's going everywhere. I have stuff everywhere and it's not pretty, but I eventually got everything down. We got the house cleaned. Had an IE come in, clean up the house. She shows up 30 minutes early. It was great. What was that?
Did you just say you sliced your hand on a plunger?
The end of the plunger has a little cap on it, and it came off, and I sliced my thumb on a plunger.
Vicious plunging.
While he's have the blooding, basically our home is running out of bandage.
Yes. So, and
nice.
would you like to tell us all why our house is running out of bandages, honey?
Okay. We originally have a box of bandages, like 100 pieces, but I have a bad practice. I always like to scratch my finger, like this thumb finger when I'm thinking. And when the consequence of keep on scratching, right, it will bleed. So that's why I want to see bleed, I would just stick a bandage, and then stick a bandage, and then I'm the one who consumed the entire box of the bandage.
Mm.
And so I have, nothing but those big massive ones that won't stay on your thumb anyway. Now these things happen, right? And of course, the IE shows up. The IE shows up 30 minutes early, and I can't find my pants. So,
are you saying your name? And you open the door?
No. Thankfully, I was able to find some different shorts, throw those on before she come in, because that could be an entirely different story then.
Oh yeah.
Oh
hey,
yeah.
Snarky, I gotta ask. Are you wearing pants right now?
Stand up. Can you stand up?
I can. I choose not to. I would like to go back to the the banner that this is a pants optional live stream. This is a pants optional live stream, and I have elected not to. So if unless someone offers an awesome super chat,
you can remain seated, but you point your camera a little bit down.
So yeah, just pitch it down slightly.
Yeah,
slowly.
Although that does raise a good question though. If someone pays an awesome super chat for me to show that I'm not wearing pants, does that amount to prostitution?
Oh, you are accepting money.
No. Anyone here a lawyer?
I don't know.
You better get one on here.
Yeah,
I mean, you guys had the other week with Burbex, you better be careful the amount of skin we're showing.
Oh yeah, Burbex. He was doing the Beijing bikini. He was rocking it. So we have a question here. Someone is saying, Expat Survival, what are you drinking?
Just water, man. It's a Gatorade with water. No, it's not Baijiu. Don't worry, it's not liquor.
Oh, if we have Alex Absolute on, he'd be rocking the Baijiu. Definitely.
No matter what time of day.
There you go. So I want to hear some awesome stories from you guys. Let's start with Straya. Straya, I know you've got some awesome stories, untold stories from China. I want to hear what you have tonight, sir.
All right. Do you want me to start with something that starts off a little sad and then gets interesting, or do you want me to start off with something interesting? What do you prefer?
You know what? Let's dealer's choice on that. Just we're gonna freestyle it tonight, my friend.
Radio. Okay, so to paint a picture for those that I haven't tried to disclose too much of this information before, but when I originally came to China, I was kind of married at the time, and well, let's just say that things didn't go that well, and I ended up being part of, I guess, your stereotypical kind of scam bait and run type situation. And well, I was left in China pretty much with no speaking ability, with no idea what I'm doing. I didn't own property. I didn't have my name on anything. My bank card wasn't in my name. So I was pretty much high and dry. And this was about 6 months into when I was actually living in China, maybe less, probably about 5 months. And actually, shout out here for Expat Expat Survival, because actually channels like his have actually really helped me establish myself in sorting out things like bank cards and that. And essentially, I had about 2 weeks before I was going to be homeless and everything. And I guess I just decided, let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. Let's give it a try in China. And I made some really nice connections with some great Chinese people that pretty much, they had this, stereotypical foreigner living in their country, can't speak the language, using phone apps to talk to them 24/7. And they helped me set up my life, essentially, in China. They got me a house. They got me, helped me into the bank and set up, my money. They helped me set up education. They helped me set up jobs. It pretty much, when you hit rock bottom type thing, you don't know where to go. I was at rock bottom in a foreign country. And I just think it was such an awesome experience to have found such, I guess, such a nice community of people that welcomed me in, or like the local grocery lady was really, really nice. Like she was setting me up with like food packages. And I don't know if you guys have any good, like close connections with any elderly people, but definitely at like schools and that I had, I'm not sure, you guys always throw the word out there, but I'm not sure what you call like those elderly worker type ladies, the grandmothers, but they were bringing me like food from their gardens. So I was getting like fresh fruit and vegetables like every day from these lovely, lovely ladies that were just like, eat this, eat this, eat this. Like, I guess a thing in China is that they, like, instead of saying, how are you with that? It's like, have you eaten? Did you eat? And so when you tell someone that you're down on your luck and all they want to do is stick your face full of food, and this was just, it was a nicer side of China. It was a really nice side of China and such a great opportunity and experience, I think, for me, like an eye-opener. But yeah, lovely, lovely people, lovely experience. Really enjoyed it.
That's awesome. You're talking about rock bottom. That leads a question though. If you walk by a statue and you slap a statue's backside, does that mean you've hit rock bottom?
That's the rock bottom, yeah.
Yeah, I can't help myself. So, Expat, I know you've got some awesome tales. Tell some one of your untold stories of China.
So I'll start with a warm up, and it has to deal a lot with why I came to China in the first place and how I ended up marrying my Chinese wife now. So as I mentioned, I met her in college. She was in Syracuse University at the time, and we were hitting things off, and then eventually we started getting serious like 2 years after graduation. And I would visit China once a year. So every year I would get like 1 or 2 weeks off and I'd visit China. And before I'd visit China, I'd do like a horrible attempt to learn Chinese. By the way, like trying to learn Chinese when you're not in China, it's possible, but the way I did it was completely wrong. So I don't recommend that. So yeah, I pretty much know zero Chinese, and it came time to actually meet her parents. And if you guys didn't know, if a Chinese girl introduces you to their parents, that's usually a really strong sign. Maybe not so much in the Western society, but if a Chinese girl introduces you to your parents, it's in the right direction. So the first time I went to China, I visited. We went to like Beijing. We also went to Shanghai. We went to a bunch of places. It was awesome. The places I went to spoke a lot of English at the time, so I could survive. Like Shanghai, I can get by with just English. But it was the second time I went to China. It was like the third year we were together, and I went to China. And when I finally met her parents, I already knew like I wanted her to be my wife. I didn't ask her to marry me yet, so it was still like inside, like a secret. And so we go to her dad's hometown in Chaozhou, which is in Chaoshan, like another province in China. And we go meet his parents. So like now I didn't even know, not only knew her parents, I knew her grandparents. And I'm like, okay, like that's it. So like it's serious, like a set deal. I still didn't know much Chinese. So it was really awkward with her family because I'll be like sitting in a corner trying to speak Chinese and all that. But I wanted to marry my father-in-law's daughter, my wife. And so what I ended up doing, and this is so embarrassing, I pulled him out to the side. Me and him get along. Like I play ping pong pretty well. For a foreigner, I play pretty well. I can hang. I'm not like super good, but I can hang. And we already had a good relationship. So then I started talking with him, tried my best in Chinese. It didn't work out. So I ended up going to Google Translate, like Straya was talking about, using apps on your phones. And I asked him if I could marry his daughter, because at least in our tradition, we usually ask the father permission. Hey, can I marry your daughter? On Google Translate. It was the most awkward thing, but he responded very nicely. He's like, yeah, sure. But what ruined everything was that I didn't tell him to keep it a secret. Okay, so my wife had no idea. So then me and my wife go back to the US because we were still living in the US at the time. And he told my wife, or at the time she was my girlfriend, hey, your boyfriend just asked me if you can marry him.
Oh.
And she didn't tell me this information. So she kept it quiet. So she thought I was going to ask her to marry her maybe like soon. Let's say like within 3 months after going to the US. But the thing is, I wasn't going to ask her until a year after. So we had a lot of events together. Like we had like a ball, like a ball we went to and all that, and some events. And she thought I was going to pop the question. So she was getting disappointed, more and more disappointed. So eventually the time came where we went to California together in San Francisco, and I planned this whole proposal ceremony. And I caught her by surprise. But after I asked her to marry me, she's like, I thought you gave up and you didn't want to marry me anymore because my dad told me like a year ago that you were going to marry me or asked me to marry me. But again, they kept it all secret from me. So it was kind of like, oh, sorry. I hope this proposal made up for it, you know.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
That can be kind of harsh, man.
Yeah.
That can be kind of harsh. But it seems like everything worked out in the end. So, you know, you got the family, you got the girl, and so.
Yep. Now I have a daughter.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have
how later though. I'll say
how
that
old's your
story
daughter?
About to hit 9 months.
There we go.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Do you mind me questioning one thing about like, you know, obviously the concept of, you know, the whole using the phones and talking that. Now, again, this isn't a toot my own horn thing. I've had a couple of different relationships with people from different cultures and different languages. And one thing I guess you might say that bugs me, and it bugs some people as a foreigner, maybe it's a sense of pride in trying to learn something yourself. But did you ever get some of those experiences where you go to say something, or you've got in the back of your mind like a string of sentences you want to say, and then you get told by either your partner or someone else, say this or say that, like this is what you should say, and you're like, now it just looks like I've been instructed on what to say instead of saying it myself? Do you ever get caught up in those kind of moments where you're being kind of set down a railroad?
Happened.
Oh, yeah.
No, I can add to that. So in China, it's super common, at least amongst Chinese family members, to go to like a round table and have like dim sum together, like have a nice, we call it he cha, like to go drink tea together. And when I didn't know any Chinese at all, my wife was kind of like the director, like, hey, say this. They'll like it if you say this. It's good in our culture if you say this. You're supposed to pour the tea for the eldest person. The eldest person is supposed to sit across from the entrance or the exit, like the door, because that's the kind of like showing respect to the person, that they're the highest in the hierarchy and all that stuff. So in the beginning, absolutely. But now, like, I speak enough Chinese that I can make my own decisions.
Nice. You're a big boy now.
There you are.
I'm a big boy now.
Absolutely. No, the worst is though is when you're trying to, you know, converse by WeChat and you said, or, you know, or Google Translate, and you say the completely wrong thing. I had a delivery guy. He made the wrong delivery, and I was trying to apologize. And so I typed in my phone, you know, I'm sorry, my Chinese is very poor. And somehow it came out to, you're such a poor Chinese.
Oh no.
And so Bunny had to correct it for me and let him know that, you know, sorry, I was, you know, I completely mistranslated on my phone.
Yeah.
But these things happen. Speaking of Bunny, I know she's got some wonderful stories. Tell some your untold stories of China.
Yeah, it's actually happened last year with you, Snarky. Remember in April, like 5th of April, there's a festival we call it like a grave swapping festival. Basically, all family members have to go to visit the grave of our ancestor, and then you do the cleaning on the grave. So it's just a kind of a festival that all the families, like even extended families, will go together. So there are part of some procedure you have to do, and one thing, and then after all the things you have done, they'll start the firecrackers, and then we have ordered a big pig, roast pig together, and I just eat it in front of the grave. But then because Nike is actually a Christian, so he cannot eat it because it has that pork has gone through some worship, whatever. So my family, like all the family members, are like eating like nom, 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 so nice, and then keep on like giving it to Snarky because they cannot communicate very well. My extended family speak Chinese, Cantonese, and Snarky can barely speak Cantonese. And then Snarky was like, no. And I had to keep on repeating why, because of the religious. And they were so surprised. It's like, why? It's so funny. And the most funniest part is actually Snarky keep on looking at, I guess there's about like 30 people together, like family members. Keep on like, no. Hold on. And Snarky is looking like this. Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at all that delicious pork and I can't have any.
Oh, it's unfortunate.
So, but then your mom later on, she bought some more for me, right?
Yeah, and then every time my mom and he visits my mom, sometimes it's the home that I'm living in. Because I don't know why my mom actually treat him like son, okay? Better than I treating me like meat than me. So every time when he visits my home, my mom will actually prepare the food that he likes the most and then put it in the fridge. And then when I enter the home, my mom would tell me to prepare for Snarky. But if I come back home by myself, you know what how my mom would treat me? I may ask my mom if there's any food I can eat. Just like, okay, open the fridge, there's some leftover.
She treats me very good. I love it. It's absolutely wonderful. So, speaking of stories recently, everyone remembers last week we had Burbeck's Bryn Urban Survival, explorations here in Shanghai. 2 days ago, Bryn and we decided to take a 4-hour trip out to some outlying island between Shanghai and Jiangsu. It's called Chongming. And so we take the metro out there completely unplanned. We're gonna meet at the ferry port. I get on the metro and he's already there and he's like, because I scared him. So we take the metro, we take a DD, we get on the ferry. It's like oh man, the water's all choppy and getting kind of queasy. We get out to this island, take a black taxi, walk forever in the woods, and we found this 1950s MiG-19, or the Chinese version of a MiG-19. It's called the J6 Shenyang. And so we crawl all over it, up, down, and even Snarky somehow managed to climb on top of this jet, take a whole bunch of video. And so that was an amazing adventure. But when we go to get back, the ferry is closed. No ferry. And we're like, do we just become residents of this island? So we eventually found a bus, that took an additional 2 hours to stop and go traffic. Ended up taking us like 4.5 hours to get back to Shanghai. And man, I was just fit to be tied at the end of that adventure. But we got some awesome video. So you guys want to probably check out Burbeck's channel or my channel. We got that video coming out pretty soon here. But that was a pretty cool adventure.
Check out both. Watch them both.
Yeah, you can watch them both.
One
definitely.
The other.
Definitely. So I want to go back to Expat Survival, because he was saying he had some other cool tales of the deep end to tell us.
Okay, so I'll just start out with my story about having my daughter in China. So we had our daughter in Guangzhou, and
now I want to stop you there. When you say about having your daughter, is this going to be an X-rated story, sir?
Nah. I'm gonna talk about the hospital experience.
Oh, okay. I thought it was you have to put on the wow, chicka, wow, wow. So you music and everything else there.
I won't be putting that on a live video. Come on now.
I'm very relieved, sir. I'm very relieved. So be demonetized instantly. So anyway, continue, sir.
So for anyone that's ever had a child, you know that you have to do like checkups at the hospital and all that until the day of birth. Well, we already had this hospital lined up and everything, and we thought everything was good and handy. Then it comes time when she's in labor, and at this point, my Chinese is Ban. Like I can communicate what I want to say, but in a very childish manner. So she was in labor, and obviously there's just some things that are really hard to do in China, and you just got to push them with like maybe a homebao or something, especially if you can't communicate with them. So we were able to upgrade our room because if it was a public hospital, by the way, and there's a lot of people in China. So you can imagine that a lot of the rooms were either occupied with 2 or 3 people, or they're just like almost booked all the way because there's just so many people having birth in China. Well, I homebowed some of my way into like a nice room. It wasn't like a cheap homebow either. I think it was like 5,000 RMB to get like a VIP room. And yeah, so we ended up having the baby and everything. And then I found out about this tradition called yuezi, which is postpartum. Well, it means like month after having childbirth in Chinese, but it's like pretty much a postpartum tradition that's like 1 to 2 months where the mother, after they give birth, just gets pampered. And there were all these things that like I just didn't know were like taboo. So for example, if she were to touch cold water, then she would have like an unhealthy life for like 7 years after birth, something like that. I don't know like the exact feng shui, but it was just these small things. So then my wife got checked into the yuezi place, and it was pretty much like a spa. Like this, I think this business could be successful around the world if more girls found out about it, especially in California. I think they have some in California and New York where the mom just gets pampered, and they have like a diet plan. They get planned like right after they give birth. They have a dietitian give them a meal plan, and you have like a ai there, or we call it a baomu, which is like a caretaker, take care of your kid while your wife is just like relaxing, enjoying life. So at this hospital, so there's different versions, right? We have a hospital version of yuezi, and we have like the hotel version. It depends which one you want to book. The hospital one was actually pretty fancy. Like they had a place to wash your hair, like in a professional, what do you call those places that you clean your hair? Well, you know what I'm saying. And like a massage place, like a water bed. And it was just like a really interesting experience to witness that environment for like 2 months. My wife enjoyed it, of course, but yeah, so it's just interesting. It's my first time witnessing that. And if we do have another baby, she's definitely going to do the same thing. I'm not sure if you guys have any experience with this after birth tradition in China.
You say if you do have another baby, you figured out what caused the baby in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
I think I'm old enough to know that.
That's good to hear. So Straya, you start off kind of smooth, and you said it was gonna crescendo, and I'm kind of waiting to hear this spicy Straya story.
Well, I can't tell you too much of the spicy stuff. We'll keep it PG for now, but I'll get you something a little bit nicer here. So another nice story. I'll give you another kind of fun experience type story. So I was with Angelo Da'an, and we're going to Bailing Park. So Bailing Park, for those of you that don't know, it's in Shenyang. I'd hate to get my history wrong, so I'm not going to try say which important prince or king or whatever was buried there. But I don't know if you guys know. Anyway, we were out there at Bailing Park. It was winter, so we were there fully rugged up in all these gear. I'm wearing these heavy hiking boots, seeing as, I'm used to the dry weather and that here. So I'm completely rugged up trying to get used to these -degree temperatures. It's winter here at the moment, and I mean, people are wearing shirts and stuff. So anyway, we got there and we were excited about going in, and suddenly heard this music playing. And for those of you that obviously have been in China, generally if the weather's good, or sometimes when it's not so good, you're going to find a group of elderly people dancing. they're everywhere in China, doing their exercises, doing their dancing, doing their, like, sometimes it's Tai Chi, sometimes it's practically break dancing. And we saw these beautiful group of elderly people there, and they were dancing to, I don't want to get it wrong, but I think it was like more like Kurdish type music. It wasn't traditional Chinese, so it was from a minority. And we ended up doing a video of it. It's on my channel, but I don't want to plug myself too much there. I'll go on with the story. They came over, like we were just kind of filming them, and then they just grabbed us and were like, hey, come, learn this. And I was wearing, like, I've got my bandana and that on. I was headband, on and that. And they're like, oh yeah, Odalia, like coming in, like pulling me. And they were so friendly. And so this old guy, he was getting me there, and he's doing these like hand flicks and stuff, like looking like an eagle, like puffing its chest at me and that. And he taught me for about, I want to say we were there for about half an hour, Angelo and I, getting taught how to dance to this music. And it was so exhausting. And then suddenly this woman that's come dressed, and she's in this beautiful clothing. I don't know what minority it came from, but she's just like bowing to me. And I'm like, what's going on? And then Angelo's like, oh, dude, you have to dance with her. Apparently you have to dance with her. And I'm like, what? She was like, maybe, I want to say she was maybe in her, I don't want to be mean to her, but I'm guessing she was in about her 60s. And she's out there and she's all dressed up, and she's coming on to me, and she's doing these like arm movements and things around and on her knees. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm doing the bird chesty puff things that I'd been taught before. And it was really fun. Like, obviously slightly a bit embarrassing because I didn't, like, I'm not pulling a footloose here, but I had these heavy boots on that I mentioned earlier, and I can I'm like lifting, each one's like a kilo. Each time I'm doing some foot spin or something, and I'm like getting more and more exhausted. And you've got these people that I guess you would count as elderly people who are just doing spins and twists and all this, and I'm supposed to be the young, like, foreigner here, and I'm dripping. I'm dripping with sweat, and I'm out of breath, and I'm like turning to Angela, and I'm like, are we done? Like, are we done yet? And I didn't want to get out of it, but it was amazing, these people. And yeah, this woman, like I said, it was getting close. It was getting a lot of close, weird body movement action that was getting a bit hot in there. It was getting hot.
This is sounding more and more like the plot from West Side Story, minus the snapping.
Angelo comes in with the snaps.
There you go.
Yeah, it was a great experience. But yeah, like I said, it was also like one of those, is there kind of like sexual tension happening here? Because like there's a lot of closed body movement here, and I'm like, oh, like, I like you, but I don't like you. Like, don't get the wrong idea.
So you had sexual tension going on with some of the old Dama dancing ladies.
Oh yeah, and they were all just sitting on the side, and I can't speak Chinese. All I can constantly hearing is just like how, like they're all just like so happy and saying like good and clapping, and I'm there doing weird thrust movements and that, doing like the Michael Jackson maybe. Nah.
Hey, Straya, have you ever danced in South America or Latin America before? Like, you ever been to a party?
No. See, I'd love to learn a bit of Spanish or some dirty dancing in that way. Some very, very, very close like samba or that. Of course, I would love that. But yeah, like I said, this is these people were not so young, but they were definitely energetic.
Definitely. So it kind of almost sounds like the boots almost reminds me of that anime that Expat and I like, Naruto. So what's that character that has the boots?
Come on, that Rock Lee episode, man, when he took off the plate.
He drops off the weights and it's like, whoa.
Against Ara.
Always anime where they wear weighted clothing. Maybe, yeah, mate, it's making me a better dancer. Maybe now that I've taken the boots off.
There we go. So, Bunny, I know you have a couple other interesting tales you wanted to tell before we were out today. I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
Okay, there was actually a kind of old story that happened when I was still in school. I mean, as students. So
Okay.
I know right now we have the the bullet train, the high speed railways from Guangzhou to Guilin, which is actually in the west Guangxi. It's just a few hours. But the first time I actually took my backpack trip to Guilin took me like more than 10 hours train. That is the green train. I don't know whether how many guys actually still experience those trains. So it has to leave Guangzhou at night and then go to Hulan and then and then go south to Guangxi. Actually, it's the Guilin. It's more than 10 hours plane, and it's actually in the midnight. It starts at 6 p.m. and then another like 8 a.m. I forget it. So at those times, we cannot buy any seats that you can sleep. You have to really sit the whole night. And I remember there was actually a bunch of people. They are kind of the workers. They have to went back home. So at night, they actually they didn't sleep. What they do is they have this like secret like, ooh, ooh, ooh. So they actually play, like gambling, and then they're smoking. It was not really long time ago. They're smoking, they're gambling, and everyone you feel like everyone is just like thief because they are just very noisy. And me and my friend are only two girls thinking about students, and we are holding it was winter, sorry, and then we were holding our backpack like this. And then we dare not to sleep. The whole night we dare not to sleep. And then we just look at the people like this. It was to be honest, it was so scary. It was so scary because we don't know, we were worried about robbery. Because once we got all the money gone away, then how can we finish the trip? We don't have Jifubao, we don't have Alipay at that time. And then a guy, he said like opposite to us. A guy, he approached us and talked with us and keep on like popping us for things like, oh, why you guys are here? Why only two girls are here? Why you guys will take this kind of train? You know, blah, 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 so dangerous, blah, blah. Keep on asking us. We were so hesitant to answer them. And I think we figured out that finally we start a conversation, understand what he's supposed to be. He's actually a nice guy. Because he got things robbed, that's why he has to take a train back to hometown, and he share with us what happened, how to pay attention when you take a night train, and he even help us to actually like keep an eye on the people so that we can actually sleep in the middle of the night. And we sleep until I guess 4 a.m. and then he woke us up and then he remind us, okay, you guys have to stay awake now. I have to get off the train. Don't sleep, otherwise it'll be very dangerous. But now, this kind of experience is kind of interesting because right now we won't have this kind of experience anymore because, we have bullet train, we have all the things very all the CCTV secure, so you never get a chance to experience that. But right now, when I recall that story, like experience when I was young, it's still a cool experience. Snarky is like,
yeah, it seems like he's a little bit laggy.
Boy. Used to robots, but
while you're in China, if you don't have Zhifubao or Weixin, you're pretty much naked. At least from my experience, you might as well be naked. If you don't have a phone that has battery with those kind of electronic payments, you might as well be naked. Like that's why it's so popular to see at every restaurant, at least in like first tier cities, like you have the cell phone chargers that you can rent for like a little bit. They're everywhere, like because they know without a cell phone you're pretty much useless.
Yeah, I remember before we moved to Shanghai. I mean, sometimes we went to Shenzhen because I'm from Hong Kong. We went to Shenzhen to spend to do some 1 day shopping or 1 day trip. So in the restaurant, the most likely ask you, "Are you paying by Alipay or WeChat?" And then my answer is always like, "Cash, please." And they were like, "Okay." Because I at that time I haven't started living in China. I mean, like relocated mainland China, so I don't know why. But it feels like every time I answer them, they were like, "Okay," like this.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, why are you bothering me?" Like, 很麻烦, And also with Zhifubao, which is Alipay, by the way, I realized really quick there's two different systems for it. So I thought, my ignorant self thought that, I have it in mainland, so I can use it in Hong Kong. Wrong. So yeah, I tried to buy a ticket. I almost missed my ticket to get a speed train back to Guangzhou from Hong Kong because I tried to use like WeChat Pay and Alipay in Hong Kong, but you need to have a Hong Kong bank account linked to that to be able to use it. You can't they can't talk to each other, even though it's like one country, two systems. You can't use Alipays don't cross. You need to register for 2 different Alipays. So I learned that the hard way.
You know, it's funny thing is actually I believe that all of us here in this, like, they're considered non-PRC members, okay, non-PRC resident. So I have my Alipay, and I'm in China Alipay, Hong Kong Alipay. When I come to Hong Kong, I want to spend money through the China version of Alipay, and then I scan it, and the first pop-up telling me, you are not a non-PRC member. You cannot spend money. I was like, okay. So So that's why my phone actually has 2 Alipay. One is Hong Kong version, one is China version. And the PRC version is linked to my China bank, my bank in China. The Hong Kong version is linked to my credit card. It's like, so I was looking at the benefit that I have, and for the mainlanders, and then I cannot enjoy it. Although I don't have it, I still have the account. But I cannot enjoy the benefit. That was kind of, yes, that's kind of well.
I hate losing. My wallet is usually super fat with cash. I'm one of those people, like, you know, bury your money like a beagle in the yard. But I so many times have just had coins and coins, especially in my wallet, and then I've seen something that I don't need, like something like just a little snack or something, like, yes, awesome, I can get rid of some coinage, and then they're like, no, you have to pay by like WeChat Pay or something. Like, oh, I didn't even want this item, but then I had to buy it because I had already put it up on, well, I could have put it back, but I already put it on the counter, or that, already taken it out of their thing. And I'm like, I'm buying this. And then they're like, no money, no, WeChat. And they give me like a QR code. I'm like, ah. Oh. So then I've got even more coins still sitting there. And now I've got like a useless, like Yakult or some kind of like bio energy drink or something that I didn't even want. Just wanted to get rid of my coins.
Yeah, but I read the news saying, I remember last year that the government had actually announced something that basically the shops cannot reject taking the cash, because cash is still official like money. Because I heard that some shops, they start to, not right now, it's actually last year, they start to refuse like rejecting any cash. And then the government make an announcement like saying, no, cash is still the official money, that no shops can reject it. Then rejecting it. Yeah, cash is king. And one funny thing right now in China, that we just have to bring the smartphone out. We don't have to carry anything. We don't have to carry purse. But then it has a consequence. Like, you know, when we went to the train station, the train station, because they have to like scan or check your ID before you can enter the train station. And I remember one time I actually went there to redeem a ticket for Snarky. And just once we arrive at the train station, we realized that, oh my God, I forgot my ID. I forgot my ID. How can I enter? And then luckily I have a photo of that's just a screenshot of the ID in the phone. So I show it to the one who actually just like a gatekeeper, and then she keeps saying, "You can enter, but you cannot redeem the ticket. You can enter, you cannot redeem the ticket." Okay, that, you know. So just sometimes too convenient in a way that it just make us forget to bring something which is essential, that's the ID or password. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. If you mind me adding just quickly to that, I was just quickly going to say, just in the same way that we were saying before about paying things by phone, I really think it should be part, I'm not saying it has to be instilled by the government or that, but I think it should be part of maybe a check when you come into China, and especially for anyone out there that's planning on visiting once this ends and hasn't been, I think they should have like a you have to have your WeChat Pay set up or something. I think there should be something that like you should have to prove that you've got some cash on your phone, because the same way as Michael Expat said there, like, you know, that sometimes you just take out your phone with you. It's all you need. You don't need your wallet. You don't need all this stuff. You do everything by your phone. So I think it's almost like one of those things that it should almost be compulsory pretty much. If you're going to come into China, have it set up and ready to go. So if you get in an emergency or something, it's your ticket. It's your, like, you know, your get out of jail free card type thing. If you've got it set up, it's ready to go. And I just think I got caught with my pants down. As I said, you know, we're all about pants off here, but it's just not something you'd necessarily want to happen if you're in a holiday or that. It's better to be safe than sorry, I think.
Yeah, and I do want to add something to that. So right now, Alipay actually opened a function called the Tour Pass, And I'm not trying to plug in my video about too much, but I made a step-by-step tutorial on how to use a foreign credit card to top up your Alipay account. And you just have to be a tourist. You don't need to have a Chinese bank account or anything. Now, it just makes life so much more convenient, but do understand that if you bring cash, no one can reject cash. Like by law, they can still accept cash. So yeah, but it's just a little bit of an inconvenience. But yeah, go ahead, Snarky. What were you going to say?
No, I'm just going to agree with you. It's totally convenient. I mean, everywhere I go, I just grab my phone, still in my pocket. I cannot remember the last time I took my wallet, which the first time was when Burbex and I took that ferry. I tried to buy a drink on the ferry, and they're like, no way, Shing, no Jufferbao. They only wanted cash, and I'm like, what? Really? Who carries cash? I don't have cash. But my last story I want to talk about. You're talking about expat reminded me saying you feel naked. That's one thing you see a lot of in southern China is naked people. You don't see much of that in Shanghai, but man, I cannot tell you how many times, I'm just, walking down, I see some guy walking towards me on the street, nice shoes, socks, over the shoulder bag, and nothing else. And he's just walking in, as he's walking. And this happens a lot in southern China, where you might see like some old dude sitting on a bench, and he's got his clothes very nicely, folded, just sitting on the bench next to him, and he's just as naked as a jaybird. So only one time do we see a naked lady. It was in Jiamutou, which was just outside of Dongguan. She was, I was out with my mom and my sisters, and this lady was running around, and she was, rubbing up against the glass. And finally, a shopkeeper came out and handed her a dress, and she disappeared. So, yeah,
free dress.
So, there you go. Yeah, true. He was literally hanging out. He was literally hanging out. But fortunately, we don't see much of that in the bigger cities. You only see that in like the rural parts. Have either of you guys seen that happen in China with naked people?
I've seen some naked people, but mostly, I think one thing, and it's a cultural thing, but definitely naked kids, or at least parents that think it's a good idea to strip their kid down naked and let them go to the toilet wherever. Doesn't quite fly if you're an adult and doing it. You get some weird looks if you start stripping down naked and going to the toilet in public. But,
yeah,
maybe it's a cultural thing.
Yep.
Yeah. In Guangzhou, like I've never seen it unless it's like little kids, like Straya was saying, like an IE or an old lady letting them go to the bathroom. In the big cities, I don't see it often, but I have seen it in the more rural areas in Guangdong. Of course, it's not like I'm looking for it. It's looking for me. Really, it's you can't avoid it.
Yeah. So John says I've seen that in Arkansas. Well, yeah, of course. So
that's true. Here we just call it a tree. The toilet's a tree. If there's a tree on the road, bam, there's your toilet. Especially for us blokes, males out there. If you need to go to the toilet, there's a tree. Go bush.
The world is your toilet. Yeah, I can't say I've necessarily looking for that. One time back in like I think it was 2003, I saw these two girls getting out of a taxi cab, and they're both wearing the cheapao, and one of them hands her baby to the other lady, and the other one just kind of hikes up her dress and takes a pee right there. And I was like, but yeah, thankfully we don't see that sort of thing that much.
I used to work at a call bet center, so on a racetrack. And I kid you not, you will have the most classiest looking males and females. You've got the gents and the ladies and I don't know what you call those, like fashionista hair things and all that.
Yeah.
After a few glasses of wine, you look out the back and they're all just hitching themselves up and just peeing, and they're passing out drunk in it. And it's like the most classiest place 1 second and then the lowest class the next. It happens. It happens to the best of us, no matter how rich you want to look.
True story. Well, guys, we are reaching the end here, but some of you guys that are watching may have an awesome China story. So I am going to throw up the uber secret link into the chat. if any of you guys would like to join us on the panel, this is your opportunity. So I'm going to throw it out there. If someone wants to join us and tell us a quick story, because we're nearing the end of the hour here, I will definitely entertain that.
Nearing the end of the books.
So it reminds me of Vietnam. I have never been to Vietnam. I would love to go to Vietnam. So perhaps this whole Wuhan whoopsie thing is over, we can entertain that definitely. While we're waiting to see if anyone wants to call in to take it out, I want to ask, go around the panel, and I want to ask, of course, tell us what your channel is again, and what future projects or videos you haven't are coming out. I want to start with StrayaGuy.
Awesome. Okay, so once again, the plug there, StrayaGuy in China. Unfortunately, I'm stuck here in Australia still at the moment, as most of us are stuck overseas. So I've just been kind of working on a couple little skits. I'm actually currently working on a little one that might involve a lot of different YouTubers, maybe seeing their different styles and maybe doing a little bit of copying or mimicking what they do as a bit of a skit. So we'll see that when it comes out. But let's just say I've got a couple of wigs and stuff back there that I've been planning to use that, they'll find their way out there soon. So hopefully exciting things coming from that soon.
Now, when you say wigs, are you planning on doing any cross-dressing, sir?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We're talking everything from males to females there. So, and whatever other kind of gender things exist these days. Don't want to get in the gray area there, but yeah, there'll be a lot of dressing up.
Speaking of StrayaGuy, StrayaGuy recently tuned me into something which is possibly the greatest invention to mankind: squeezable Vegemite. Oh, and I have just gotten my package in yesterday of squeezable Vegemite, and so we're going to go ahead. He and I are going to make a video about squeezable Vegemite in the near future. So it's something you guys want to watch out for. But Expat, remind us of your channel again and tell us what new future projects or videos you have coming out.
Yeah, you can just search on YouTube, Expat Survival. I should be like the first option there. And for my future videos, I'm actually doing a lot of interviews with some entrepreneurs and some like business ideas that some people want to do. For example, if you want to export and import anything from or to China. And I'm actually working on a pretty big project where people want to buy from Taobao or 1688, which are platforms to find suppliers, but they don't have Alipay or WeChat Pay. So I'm actually creating a website where it can be automated and you can pay using PayPal or your Visa or MasterCard. And you can even use my freight forwarder or another freight forwarder to buy items from China, like in a very economic price. So yeah, that's something I've been working on. And if you're interested in being a part of this project, I'd appreciate it if you just shoot me a message on my Instagram or my Twitter at Expat Survival.
Nice. Okay. So what is your Twitter or your Instagram for those that are interested in that?
Expat Survival. I've got that handle for like everything.
Got that handle for everything.
Yep.
Nice. All right. So Bunny, who has not
Bunny's putting up
yet.
the channel?
What was that? What was that, Straya?
Is Bunny putting up the channel? Is Bunny
It's
starting
a
a
special
channel?
announcement.
What's that? Oh.
Oh, we have it here. What is squeezable Vegemite? Straya, what is squeezable Vegemite?
It's Vegemite in a tube. So just like your toothpaste tube, but Vegemite. So, when you need it on the go, instead of having a nice, heavy, breakable jar, you never know when you need a can of sardines or tube of Vegemite.
There we go. So, yes, Straya and I are going to be doing a video on that, and we it should be kind of interesting. It may end up being kind of a rap battle, but we'll see how that goes. So, yeah. What is this? My grandma used Vegemite like mustard with steak and sausages, added a spoon to soups and stews. So good. That's true. You can use it for nearly everything. True story. What is this? You need fresh butter and with fresh bread and butter with Vegemite. There we go. So, well, Bunny, who does not yet have a WeChat or no WeChat.
I have WeChat.
She has WeChat. She does not yet have a YouTube channel. When I was going to ask you what projects you have coming out, but the only project right now is, of course, getting back to Shanghai.
Yeah, actually, I'm designing something for my next home. So that is actually a project. It's not related to YouTube, but then another project I working with Snarky together. So we hope that maybe like I guess it will be in December. We can put it as one of the episodes.
There we go.
Yeah, we design a home together, like design, picking furniture, picking tiles, and then renovating, like picking the old home and then to build a new one.
There we go. Awesome. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. Definitely. So
yeah, I'd like to do like a question time or something with Bunny, like if people could send in some questions or something maybe, and then she could answer them, put together a little video with you, maybe you could direct it, and maybe Bunny could have her own little special answer questions or something. Could be pretty fun.
Yeah, and I will charge Nike for that price per question. So I get time money from my husband.
Well, guys, I appreciate everyone joining us for another week of the Snark Lounge. I want to thank all of my guests for joining us. Make sure and visit all of their channels, StrayaGuy and Expat Survival. Like, comment, subscribe on their channel. Show them some love. Like anything else, guys, always carry a can of sardines. You never know when you may need them. And I want to thank everybody for joining us this week. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
On the Snark Lounge.
See you guys.
Bye.
We'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.